Okay, so for the assignment that is related to color, there's a few different files that you'll need. First, I'm going to go over the presentation that you should be able to have either in Canvas or Blackboard. Okay, so after you've completed the color workshop, then you can start on the color assignment. This is related to thinking about choosing a limited color palette. So just choosing 2 or 3 colors to work with, and then create an illustration using one of the provided mythology stories. So I've chosen 5 stories, and you can choose one of those stories. I don't want you to use your own story because I want you to really focus more on the technical aspects of creating a successful image with color, more than getting distracted by the elements of storytelling. We'll have other projects where we focus more on that. So for now, we're just going to focus on the color and composition, and thinking about the things that we've talked about so far in the semester. Okay, so just to review, these are the limited color palettes, and I want you to choose one of these to practice with. So either choose 2 complementary colors, and you can also use black and white. You could choose analogous, choosing 3 colors that are close to each other on the color wheel. You could use triadic, so using either primary colors, secondary colors, or tertiary would be like if you used this deep orange, ultramarine blue, and then this light green, or you could do this light blue, the light yellow, yellowish orange, and magenta. You could use split complementary, so choosing 2 colors that are close to each other, not directly next to each other, and then the color on the opposite side of the color wheel. Like I said, I don't want you to try 4 colors for this particular assignment. Just focus on 2 or 3 colors plus black and white and see how they work together. These are the stories, so we're looking at Greek mythology stories. So you can choose either Perseus and Medusa, King Midas and his golden touch, the 12 labors of Hercules, Pandora's box, or the 3 sisters of fate. And I'll talk about this at the end, but you can really interpret them however you want to. Again, the focus of this project is focusing on a successful composition and using limited color. So we're just going to look at some pieces that have limited color palettes. This one, I think maybe has, I think this is just 3 colors. It feels like it's more than 3 colors, but that's just because they're mixing together. So we have yellow, a pink, and blue. And the yellow and blue mix together to make green. The pink and the yellow mix together to make this orangey color. And then the pink and the blue mix together to make purple. So even though you're only using 3 colors, it actually looks like 6. Juhi Yoon is really great at using limited color palettes. She really just takes a few colors and sticks to using them just as they are. So here we just have, this is more primary with some pink. But the pink even could just be a lighter tint of red. Leslie Barnes does some work that feels more graphic, but here you can see she's just using green, pink, and red, and just using those colors at different opacities to create interesting color combinations. This will be a little bit easier with digital. For this assignment, you will actually be using gouache, but this just gives you an idea of how colors can work together. I love this piece. I love how bold and strong just two colors together, black, white, and red. It's really powerful and effective and still very interesting. This is a great example by Carl James Mountford using blue and red and then a little bit of white. And the darks that he's getting are not necessarily made with black, but with the deep red and deep blue mixing together. This is another example of, this one I suppose would be also split complementary, using a green, a deep blue, and then going to the opposite side of the color wheel for that kind of salmon-y color. This is Lily Padula using just black, white, blue, and then this kind of yellow ochre color. And so you can see how using those four colors together, the color is fairly simple, but it's interesting. She uses patterns and interesting line work. So really all of these elements are able to come together really nicely. This is, I'm not sure if it's Nuriata Merit, but I really like their work. And you might also consider changing the background. Instead of using white, what would it look like if your paper was yellow or just had kind of a painted tint to it? That can really make your colors that you're using pop. Another thing I want you to think about is how can you make well-known characters look unique? So you're going to be working with stories that are familiar, but you can draw them in a new and interesting way. I have here, don't make the characters look like they originally do. And this says styly, but it stylize characters. That's what it's meant to say. And then just draw them in your own way. So how would you interpret this character? So here are, again, some examples. This is Sailor Moon, but done in a fun way by Greg Kletzel. I really like this drawing by Ellen Surrey. She really brings her own kind of sweetness to these Star Wars characters that we are all probably pretty familiar with. I really like this one by Christian Robinson. This his kind of dedication to Black Panther. It still has that kind of feel of the original character, but it also is very much done in his own style and feels very unique. This is obviously Cinderella by Lauren Tamaki, and kind of has some of those similar iconic aspects of Cinderella, but done in her own style. She often uses a very loose painterly style. But I also wonder, Cinderella is this character that we hear about all the time, but we have also seen her in different ways, whether it's teenage Hilary Duff or I guess Selena Gomez. We have a lot of different versions of the Cinderella story, and I think it can be interesting to think about different ways to interpret that character. I actually really I think my favorite interpretation is the one with Brandy, and the colors are totally different. They're really bright. So many different ways you can interpret one character. I love these drawings by, I think it's Hyun Sung. This is Anne of Green Gables. And this is the Oompa Loompas. So again, taking these iconic characters, and you can still use that kind of iconic design or characteristics, or you could change them. How could an Oompa Loompa look totally different? If you heard the term Oompa Loompa and someone told you it's like a little troll character, you might draw it quite differently. This is a great example by Natalie Kuramoto Martinez, taking Medusa and making her feel much more contemporary. Okay, so that's it. I'll also show you the details in the actual assignment. If you go to modules and then come here, this is where you'll actually submit your assignment. Oh, nope, that was the PDF. This is where you'll submit the assignment. So you can see, choose one of these color palettes. These are your medium options: gouache, acrylic, or colored pencil. For the dimensions, you can choose 8 by 10 or 10 by 10 if you want to do a square. These are the stories, and these are your deadlines. For where the stories are, they're also here in modules. So you can go through, and they're just brief descriptions, but just choose one story and think about, like with our process assignment, the first one that we did, go through those steps, take the story, do some research, both with color, character, and composition, and use that as resources to creating your final image.